on the global media tour.
このグローバルメディアツアー、今日が僕にとっても最終日なので、ちょっとしかもプリッツさんも長くやってずいぶんちょっとお疲れかもしれませんが、
Is it okay? Before I go into this is a long video. Is there anything? Oh, game music. Yeah. Is there anything I should be skipping, or do we watch all of it? Yo, Yuki, hello, brother.
行きたいのでぜひよろしくお願いします。
And for me as well, this is the final day of the media tour, and I think you've been here all day, Preach, and you must be tired yourself. It's only 45 minutes for today's interview, but I hope you enjoy it.
そしてすごい大事なこと、いつもファイナルファンタジー14
About what they talk about? Yeah, that's what I was looking at that to see if letting go of the fear of failure. Oh. Why FF14 is so careful about changes, the new dungeon blueprints. Did the influx of Western players influence design? Final Fantasy is an RPG first. Why FF... Oh, wait, so this is the interview here, right? And then is this where Preach... Oh, no. Okay, so this just... Okay.
And also, one very important thing...
Is it loud enough?
Thank you so much for always supporting Final Fantasy 14.
I think people have been excited about me talking to you since the day I installed this game.
多分おそらく皆さん自分がこのゲームをインストールしてからこの日が来るのを長く待ち望んでいたと思います。
僕も実はちゃんとというか、偶然なんですけど、本当配信は拝見していて、特に印象に残ってるのがそのワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトとファイナルファンタジー14を実際にプレイしながら、ものすごく論理的に冷静に分析をするっていうところからスタートしていく。
They're Doc Martens. Bro's got the drip on. I actually wear Doc Martens myself. Basically, I'm Yoshi P. Rings, Doc Martens. I love Yoshi boys.
Thank you so much. I think actually this was just a coincidence, but
I wonder how hard it is to sit there knowing that you don't understand anything he's saying, but you still have to hold like eye contact and like, you know, the presence there, but you're awaiting the reply of the translator.
But I watched one of your streams by coincidence, and I noticed that you compared World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14. You were playing them, and you were very logical in your analysis. You were very calm in your analysis, and that really left a big impression on me.
Yo! Yoshi P watching Preach? Yo!
I appreciate that. It's one of the things that's allowed me to do these interviews with the head.
Okay. Knows English, but isn't all that. Okay, that makes sense. It's more that it must be difficult. Obviously, these are both probably used to it by now. Like, it just must be difficult to, like, because you almost have to show you're holding attention, but you don't understand what they say. But obviously, Preach doesn't understand Japanese, right? I'm assuming he doesn't. So he's there, but he's good with the way he eye contacts, and it feels like he's still listening to the Japanese, even though he might not understand it.
Heads of many MMOs over the last
there you go.
10 years, and extensive hours and hours of interviews with Blizzard and Grinding Gear Games and ArenaNet. So I really appreciate that. It's fantastic.
非常に光栄に思います。こういうことを続けてたおかげで、いろんな例えばブリザードとかいろんなゲームのヘッドの人たちとこうやって。
Fun fact: either Yoshi P or someone else on the FF team has watched you stream the MSQ. Is that true? Is it just a thing they do? Mike barely understands English. Oh, that's cool. I know we had a few GMs in here. Whether that's true or not, you know, we don't know. But, you know, you like to think it's true.
Okay, well, if you have many questions, here's your chance.
I do have one thing to admit. When I first played FF14, I thought I was going to hate it. I told my audience that this would be 5 days maximum. But the story you crafted...
5 days. Yeah, I feel like we all say that. I feel like we all say 5 days. Then it becomes 5 years.
The Hydaelyn Zodiac storyline gripped me by day one. And I could not put it down. So it's truly successful what you created here.
まず認めなくてはいけないのは
Oh my god, this is like right at the start. Report to Momodi. Wait, this is right at the start of his. Holy, that's crazy. How big was Preach at this point? That's they still got clips from that time.
もう最大でも5日間ぐらいまでしか遊べないだろうなと思ってましたけど、蓋を開けてみると、もうハイデリンゾーディアークサーガの一番初め、1日目から僕の心をわしづかみにしてくれました。非常に素晴らしい
I assumed
成
that.
功したゲームだと思います。
いや、それをすごくこうやっぱり人ってその失敗をなかなか見て
This QQ! QQ's been there from the start as well. Oh my god, this is Seal. He's always been that Faye wearing fucking Lalafell as well. That's crazy.
はい、というか正直にそれを話してくれるっていうところが
Who is riding the Phoenix? This one here? Soul Blues.
もう見ててもすごくスカッとしたところですし、まあすごくこうリスペ
I
クト
don't
を感
recognize
じるところ
any other
で
name,
も
but
そうして
obviously
もらえると本当に
QQ's
嬉しい
right there.
Oh yeah, you know, people are a mysterious thing. When failure happens, they really don't want to admit it.
Can I just ask a question though? Why is he a femro? Chat choice. Ice Ross. So Ice Ross is a big crawlers person. Why wouldn't he be a femro? I feel like if you're a new player, I feel like you just regularly don't get drawn to like Rogadin in general. Still a crawler, chat made character with Preach. That's fair. Yeah, I feel like definitely more of a chat choice because I think I was instantly drawn to the cat boy.
But seeing you there so honest with me, that really pulled at me, and I really respect you for
Zoro
that. So,
is
and I'm so happy
FC
to
mom.
hear it, so thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank
fine.
you. Let's get started.
I'm sure there's a crawler party soon, or have I
One
missed
thing
it?
you said on stage earlier really drove my brain crazy, given all the design stuff we've talked
Most
about. And that
DJs.
is to let go
Do a lot of these people not play at the moment? Is that what that is?
of the fear of failure in your raid encounters. I don't think we saw it in the dungeon we saw today, but I'm really curious how
Last day, yes, that's it. The party we preached, the last day of Endwalker. Yeah, so that's like, is that like at the end? Froki's not a bad starter.
the team come up with ideas over the last few years that you've had to say no to, and now the floodgates can open up, not a lot, but a little
Oh,
bit
here we are on the letting go of the fear of failure.
for these greater ideas.
一つまず初めにお伺いしたいことは、一番初めのプレゼンテーションで特に僕の印象に残ったのが、失敗を恐れるなっていうフレーズだったと思います。で、これまで、何年もの間開発を続けてきて、で今回その、ドーントレイルという新たな始まりを迎えにあたって、いわゆるこれまで抑えられていたものがバッと開いて、自由な発想を、を得られる機会になったのでしょうか。
まあやっぱりこう長年しかも同じチームでこう作ってきていて、で、まあ僕らも一生懸命ゲームを作ってコミュニティもすごく熱心にサポートしてくれて、で。
I'm intrigued to hear what he says here. Because Preach was basically saying there, right, that Yoshi P has mentioned that they're going to be a bit more brave with their decisions and content that they're putting out, right? I'm understanding that right, I think.
なってみんな褒められるのはやっぱりものすごく嬉しいけど、だんだん怒られるようなことはやっぱりが怖くなるっていうところがどうしてもあるとは思うんです。まず
Well, we've been making Final Fantasy XIV for such a long time now with the same team, and we've really been doing our best in the development, and that includes me too. And thanks to that, we have an amount of community support, and many more people have started to play our game. On the one hand, I think it's great that we receive praise for our title, but on the other hand, it's a little bit concerning to think about that if we do things that would make people angry we kind of lose the sense that we're no longer afraid to do those challenges.
昔は本当に夢中で新しい
Do you rent for fun? Now, are you saying we can rent you for fun? Yeah, so as I was saying, so as players who genuinely play Final Fantasy, do you think they have been afraid to implement things into the game because the fear of losing players or angering the player base? I think PvP is fun in Final Fantasy, but you have to play like the right class for it to be fun. Like, I think Dragoon PvP feels amazing. Yeah, have you think so? They've been afraid to reuse mechanics players didn't like once. But it's more, do you think they're afraid to implement new ideas and new content because of the fear of disappointing people? I'm a samurai. See, I think samurai can be quite the slow spec. I don't know how it plays in PvP, so I can't comment on that. But, yeah. But it's so chaotic. Is there a lot going on in the PvP? Because I know Dragoon doesn't really have too many buttons in PvP. I'm glad they consider it, but being too afraid. Yeah, I agree. You have to, like, I'm not saying WoW does a good job a lot of the time, but I will say one thing. WoW kind of does take a lot of risks with their stuff. Like, they implement shit that even, like, they implement stuff that even though they know it's probably going to go down so badly, they're still like, okay, yeah, but we're going to implement it anyway. Like type of thing. But I'm glad they consider it, but I think there is things they could take risks on. Yeah, Blizzard isn't afraid to annoy people or disappoint people. They kind of, like, make their game. They do take ideas from the community, but if they've got an idea that they genuinely like at Blizzard headquarters, they will run with it even if people are like, no, no, no. You know, it's one of them. But I think it's nice to hear that they... I think you're potentially right with that. Fun. I think it's nice to hear that they're gonna be taking more risks. I think they're in a position right now where I think even if something isn't liked, they're still gonna get a ridiculous amount of players playing their game. Wait, I piss off. No. I mean, you can if you want to, dude. You can PR people if you want to, but it's more piss people off. And it often turned out they were right, and when they weren't right, well, so yeah, exactly. But I think it's one of them situations that people will play the game no matter what. Even if they don't like something, they will play it, and you know, once they've done it and tried it, they will then take the break. It's like with WoW. Like, WoW will release something that has potentially something that people don't like, but people will still try it and then go, okay, well, yeah, I was right, I don't like it, I won't play. But then they could try it and go, you know what, I was wrong, I'll play it. You know, it is how it is. Final Fantasy does a lot of good things, but I feel like modernizing the UI could be a great step. I'm glad they're changing the graphics. You know, I think there's definitely things they could take risks in, and, you know, content levels they could take risks in.
ボスバトル、新しいギミックを考えてやるぜ。
Long Dong Silver, what a great name.
だからこそいろんなチャレンジをとにかくしてきた。で、その中でもちろんうまくいったものもあるし、プレイヤーの皆さんにいやもうこのレイドのこのギミックが本当に嫌いなんだって言われたこともある。で、その時にすごい大事なの。
I think you should do more things like the benchmark for players to test out some of the features before they release the final product. Yeah, the feedback on the what's it called? The feedback on the benchmark, like, obviously they did the benchmark 1, people were like, no, this looks awful, this looks, you know, worse than what the current game is. And then they were like, okay, we're sorry, we'll rework the benchmark, sort it out, boom, they re-release it, and it's absolutely fantastic. The new benchmark is great. It shows off everything that's needed to be shown off. Like, it's really good. The characters look fantastic. So, you know, I think they shouldn't be afraid of negative feedback. They should, you know, put stuff out, accept the negative feedback, and then work from that point.
はその怒られてこのギミックが嫌いだったっていうものをやっぱりもうやめよう、もうこういうのを作るのをやめようではなく、本当はじゃあこのギミックの何が嫌いだったんだろう、 どこを直せばもっと楽しんでもらえるんだろう。だからこのギミックをさらに生かして次を目指そうであればよかったと思うし、それが理想だと思うんだけど。
You prefer WoW? I prefer WoW combat. But that's not to say I don't like Final Fantasy's combat. I just like the pacing of WoW's combat more. I've played WoW for 20 years, right? I've played WoW for 20 years. So I'm so used to the speed, the pacing, and how it fights. So Final Fantasy, I've only been playing Final Fantasy like a year and a few months now. It feels slow. Final Fantasy combat's always felt slow to me. So I still do prefer WoW's combat, but it's not to say I don't enjoy FF's combat.
どうしてもダメだって言われた、嫌だって言われた、じゃあやめようで、これを繰り返しているとだんだんなんて言うんだろう、無難なものしか。
Is this what weird? Is this 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐈? Or is this what 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐈 will be?
作らなくやっぱりなってきてしまうので、そこが。
What about combat actions? I very much like Guild Wars 2 combat and 𝐒𝐿 combat. I actually recently did a video on my YouTube about 𝐒𝐿. I love them games, but I don't think... The thing is, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with tab targeting combat. I actually feel like action combat can be way worse sometimes than tab targeting. Like, I would much prefer tab targeting combat with good pacing over action combat, in my opinion. Like, I don't have to be flying across the map, swinging a sword and, stuff like that to enjoy myself, Coils turn 5, that's normal coils, but 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐈 is like them bosses, right? But it's Behemoth, right?
プレイヤーの皆さんを楽しませたいっていう気持ちはすごくいいことだとは思うんだけど、だんだんそのチャレンジが減っていく要因でもあると思ってるので、そこを今感じ始めてるっていうところがまず大きいです。
So in the past, whenever we were working on boss battles or mechanics, we would always want to come up with unique boss battles or mechanics. And of course, there were certain mechanics that went well, but maybe in certain raids, there were certain mechanics that players didn't like.
I will say, 𝐒𝐿 is still one of the highest played MMOs in the world, right? Just because it doesn't have the same amount of daily players as FF and WoW, it still has a good amount of daily players logging in and playing the game. So, don't worry about that. You're gonna get, from what my experience with it in the last month or so, instant dungeon queues, instant PvP queues. Everything's instant. There's people running around, stuff like that. So yeah, don't worry about having the fear of not finding people in 𝐒𝐿, because it's very much played game. Like when I was leveling 1 to 50, I was seeing people constantly all over doing stuff. Guild Wars 2 would work very well on consoles, I think, especially considering the graphics aren't that good, so I feel like it would run fine on the newer gen stuff.
I think one of the important things related to that is that sometimes those mechanics would be the source of criticism. Those mechanics would make players angry. And when they started to question those mechanics, we didn't think about what we could do to improve those mechanics, so we just simply stopped making them.
Yeah, see, so I don't think that's a good... I don't think that Guild Wars 2 on console. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they released hard mechanics and the community was like... And then they were like, okay, well, we're just going to stop including them anymore. If yes, I pretend I didn't ask anything. I come from playing Outlaw Rogue, right? Which is one of the spammiest... everything is just you're pressing you can go, and the APM on an Outlaw Rogue is crazy. It's compared to even classes on WoW. Zeri can probably confirm that. People that played Rogue, just specifically Outlaw Rogue, it's the APM on it is ridiculous. How fast you can press your buttons. So when I come over to any spec, any class that I've tried on FF, it is significantly slower compared to the APM on a Outlaw Rogue. Pandemonium. Speaking of Pandemonium 8 Savage, Biggie, well, what about it? Yeah, I don't. I think that if you're releasing a hard mechanic, right, and people are moaning about it, you can either do two things as a dev, right? You can improve it to make it partially easier on the community. You keep them type of mechanics in, but you make it, you make it like, visually, that you make it see more visually, or you have a sound that's related to it. You improve it so it makes it a little bit easier for people to handle. You do that. Or you just keep it in and say, fuck you. It's a hard mechanic, deal with it, get over it. I don't think ever removing stuff like that completely is the way to play. Was on my over some time, I always ask this because some people don't know how to use GCDs. Yeah, no, I completely get that. Just, okay, if it's undoable mechanics, like genuinely shit ones, yeah, fair enough, don't include them again. Like, use them as tests, don't include them. But if it's just hard mechanics people are moaning about, then that's different. But if it is not doable mechanics, that's fair enough. I would, don't include them again. That's just shit. Yeah, there is a lot of classes on WoW that do feel slow, for sure. What's one that I guess like Warlock. Warlock can kind of feel slow. When you're just chaos bolting constantly. Yeah, similar to Windwalker. Yeah, the thing is about Windwalker is that you can't press the same ability like in a row. Arms Warrior is so slow. That's why I don't like it. Wait. People were cussing Square Enix out on PS8 was too difficult, so they lowered the boss by 2%. Their testing got too good at the fight, but it does. It is strong. Yeah, I've heard they don't really nerf their stuff in FF.
And of course, we went through that process because we wanted to stop the hatred and we wanted to increase the enjoyment of the game. However, when we go through that...
I think conclusion is they shouldn't feel the need to remove hard mechanics because people are moaning. Removing not doable mechanics, I completely agree with, right? But hard mechanics, for the sake of people moaning, I don't think should be removed. Same speed as Outlaw, however, you're hindered by the whole... Yeah. Went back and tried out Dragonflight for a bit. Fury was quicker than the fucking... Yeah, Fury Warrior is so spammy as well. Fury Warrior, Outlaw Rogue, Windwalker. That's potentially really it for the spammy ones. Now that I'm trying to think across the whole specs of stuff. Havoc DH is pretty quick, actually. Yeah, Havoc DH is pretty quick. It does have a little bit less time because sometimes, like, you're in an I-beam and, you're backflipping away or you're dashing forward. So it's not as spammy, but it is up there.
Process of saying such and such mechanic is not good, let's give up here. Eventually, we only end up with the safe options. And I think it's obviously a good thing that we make adjustments so that players can enjoy the game, but I think I started to feel that it's not good, that is also hindering ourselves in the way that we ourselves challenge ourselves.
Yoshi P said he would fall asleep when raiding on FF. That's not a good thing, right? That's not a good thing. Right, I'm not saying it's probably because he's done the raid so much that he just knows it like the back of his hand. But it's never a good thing to be falling asleep when doing content. Okay, good. That's good. The opinion is a question: how would the player base react if Square Enix decided to create a boss that would have the difficulty of Cthulhu during vanilla before nerf, since it took 4 months before Nihilum beat it for the first time? Okay, so the way I look at content, I don't think content like of that difficulty has a place in modern day gaming, right? I don't think it does. I don't think you could sit there and have something take 4 months nowadays. People would get way too tired of doing it. Like, it just wouldn't be realistic. I do believe games should have hard content. Not meaning, but yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. I get what you mean. I know you don't mean mandatory. That would be crazy. Yeah, they get damn boring. That's what I mean. So I'm thinking, like, I don't think stuff that takes that long has a place, But I do believe that, you know, there is a good time. There's a good time. Like, I feel like for a casual player, you know, playing it, maybe to clear, like, if I'm taking WoW, for example, maybe a casual player takes a month or 2 months to clear fully heroic with his team. At a casual pace. I feel like if you're maybe a hardcore player, you're gonna get through content in a couple of weeks, but that might be okay because you're a hardcore player.
チャレンジをしよう。
Fantastic.
失敗は恐れるな。失敗したらそれを糧にしてまた次へ行こうっていうのが僕が今チームに対してすごい言ってることだし、僕自身ちょっと大事にした方がいいかなって。
But I think that's why streaming FF is very different to like playing it on your own, because whenever I stream FF, I'm never bored. Right? I'm never bored. I never feel tired. I never feel anything like that. However, sometimes when I do log on and play it alone, I'm like, okay, what do I do? And then I kind of get into this point where I'm like, I end up just logging off. Right? I end up just logging off.
持ってるポイントです。
And it's for that very reason why I said to the team that we should not be afraid of failures. Let's aim on for the next stage and challenge ourselves. That's what I've been telling to the team, and I also think the same thing myself.
I like that. I like that.
That's super.
I really like that. Letting go of failures and, you know, to really try and push it. I think this is a really good decision. Like, stop putting the brakes on and just go for it with what you want to do. Like, it's their game. Let's just see what they do with it.
Super interesting because you've always been so delicate, whereas other MMOs swing the hammer with changes.
Gotta set your own goals. If you expect us to push you towards everything, yeah, exactly. No, I agree.
And is that an approach you take out of fear of hatred, or is this more? It's better to just gently move the ship rather than trying to do massive.
I feel like Final Fantasy is big enough socially, like the community and socially, that even if they made content that was hard and took a while, you would still have a ridiculous amount of players playing the game because there was a huge portion. Yo, Merkin, thank you. Like, there's a huge portion of people that don't play the game for this hard content, you know? My site still needed 6 months for a full Savage clear, and it takes 8 months from one tick. Yeah, and that's kind of perfect, right? Like, you have 6 months where you're doing it. Yeah, that's a while, but, you know, you're casually doing it, and then you have 2 months break. You know, jump back in with the next tier. When the next tier releases.
Changes at once.
これ非常に面白いと思ってます。
This is why FF is so careful about changes.
すごくこう大胆にダイナミックに動かすことに対して吉田さんは非常にその変
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like the people that are doing hard content and raiding and stuff is a quite a small section of the community, whereas a lot of players just are massive social gatherers in this game. Like they're just social animals. So I feel like even if they did something that was ridiculously hard and people moaned about it, it wouldn't affect their playership too much because a lot of people are just playing socially at the end of the day, or for the MSQ or for the side content. To like 3 or so weeks. Yeah, exactly. That's if you're playing like daily. They're like daily players. That's what I'm saying. I feel like if you're going for world firsts, or if you're going like hardcore from the start, you know, you're raiding every day for hours and hours. Yes, maybe like 3 weeks to a month is enough. Is break? No, okay, well, that's fair as well. Like whatever your content that you do, if you're going from Savage to almost, but like for casual players, for casual players doing heroic and mythic, it's probably gonna be majority of this season spent progressing 2-3 days a week, right? And I think that's fine. I think if you do heroic in like a couple of months and then you're progressing mythic for the rest of the season, you know, a couple of times a week, that's fine. You can play casually like that. Hard goes on market mode. I'm planning to do raid. I'm planning to do everything in DT. Every single fucking thing there is to do in Dawntrail, I plan on doing. Right? I plan on making content for everything in it. Like I said, when I do the MSQ, I'm doing every single fucking quest in the game along the way. This is a brand new start, right? This is a brand new start, brand new story, brand new everything. So I'm going to take in every fucking aspect of it because it's also going to be a brand new start for me and a big, what's the hardest rate? Ultimates. It's a brand new start for me. It's like this is the first expansion I'm going to be going into as a streamer. on release, you know, all of that, and I want to experience it. Like it's new and it's separate to things that have been going on. So I want to do everything. Like if I start by doing everything, then going forward, every subsequent expansion from there, I'm gonna have everything done. It's gonna feel like completionist, and I feel like when you play FF, this is a very good game for the completionist side of things. Yeah, okay.
変化がすごい繊細だというふうに感じております。でこれっていうのは要はそのヘイトへの恐れから来るものなのか、あるいは普通にやっぱり徐々にその船をそれこそゆっくり進めるのようなのが初めから思っていることなんです。
僕もそもそもオンラインゲームをスタートしたのが Diablo 1で、ウルティマオンラインはベータからやってる
Diablo 1 Ultima
MMORPG、 もういろんなものを世界中のものを触ってここまで育ってきた人間なので、そのこうヘビースイングでプレイヤーがどれだけ混乱するか、そしてヘビースイングの意図がわからないとき。
Well, here's a question then. They're talking about swinging the hammer when they're dropping like content and stuff. Yeah, would you like to see FF swing the hammer with its content? I mean by hammer. So basically what he's saying is when Preach said he'd swing the hammer, it means that, okay, so FF implements stuff very, like, delicately. They don't like to piss people off. Whereas a lot of other MMOs, Preach was saying, they kind of just swing the hammer as in, like, they just throw it in there without a care in the world. They're like, this is what we like, here's the new content. So, would you guys rather them play it delicate, like they have been, or would you guys rather see them throw content in that they think is good and just like go with it?
怒るんですよやっぱり。で僕はそれをずっと見てきて、本当にもったいない、こんなにいいゲーム。
Hello, Alan, welcome on in.
で MMORPG にとって一番良くないって思ってきたので、できる限り自分もプレイヤーの一人として変える必要はあると思う。ただできるだけこうゆっくり慣れてってもらって変える、気づいたらこっち側にいるっていうのが僕は理想だとは思うんで、それをすごい慎重にやってるっていうのは。
I wish I understood Japanese, so I knew what I was saying in real time.
So I myself am a heavy online gamer. I made my debut in online gaming with Diablo 1, and I also played the Ultima Online beta. So I've played many online games from around the world, and I understand that if there is a heavy swing at a certain point, it will cause player confusion, and if they don't know why that was incorporated, it will lead to anger. So I think if there is not enough communication from the developers, then it will be good because there's a lack of knowledge. So as a game, there needs to be some sort of change, but I felt that change should come incorporated gradually, and then once people get used to it.
I kind of like that. He's saying that, like, he's saying instead of just throwing content in there willy-nilly, just like, here it is, we've changed it. It has to tie into, like, you know, like not slow, but like gradual change to make it make sense. I kind of like that.
It would make sense to them. So that is what I took care about in this policy.
I would prefer to play melee.
That's good. If I can expand on that to dungeon design.
Ooh,
we did the new dungeon today.
Is this the new dungeon? 𝐒𝐿𝐻𝐂𝐈𝐀𝐋𝐒.
It's great, but it follows the exact same structure that we've seen in every dungeon since Stormblood, which is 3 bosses, 3 distinct areas per boss. Is that something internally you feel is the perfect
Ooh, I just realized you're playing Viper.
dungeon experience? Because it hasn't changed in years? Or is that something else where you think...
Oh, I just realized I'm on a boat. They're on a fucking boat. That's really cool.
You want to loosen up the reins.
今の話をちょっと展開したいんですけど、ダンジョンデザインに関してです。で、
I can't wait to play fucking Viper. I cannot wait to play Viper. Like, I just feel like it's going to be the perfect class. I'm so excited for it.
今日ハンズオンして新しいダンジョンになりました。すごい楽しかったです。ただ、 ストームブラッド以降と同じダンジョン構造になっていて、ボス3体で、進んでいくっていう形になっています。でこれっていうのはもう吉田さんの中でこれが究極系なのかっていうふうに思っているのか、あるいはこれ今後何か手こ入れをしてちょっと変更を加えていくようなものなのかについて教えてください。
まず僕らこういうなんていうんですか、分かりやすいそのブループリント状態になってるのを、少なくとも僕はパッケージっていう呼び方をしてます。
Yeah, I would prefer not to be there.
First and foremost, we have something that's easily blueprint of sorts, and I call it a package.
でこのパッケージをいろんなコンテンツごとにこうデザインするんですけど、今のインスタンスダンジョンのパッケージっていうのは1回のプレイで1回のダンジョンに行くプレイで何分かかるかっていう計算から。
Oh, look, there's Alizé in Erinville doing something with that massive
作っ
bird.
てます。
I've just realized he's doing the dungeon with NPCs.
This package design is applied for each type of content, and when it comes to packages, the package for instance dungeons, it's designed based on a calculation that depending on how long it would take to do one playthrough the dungeon.
特に昔に比べて今の時代の皆さんは本当に仕事も忙しいし SNS もやらなきゃいけないし、友達との家族とのコミュニケーションも必要、どんどんやっぱりゲームに避ける時間っていうのは減ってきていると思ってて、その中でも今よりも例えばインスタンスダンジョンがあと1ボス多いってなると30分以上かかるか、今日はやめとこうかな。でも逆に2ボスしかいない。
Yo, look at all the floor stuff on this boss.
なので僕は今の状況だとこの3つのボスがいて、だいたいおおよそ早ければ12分、長くても20分で終わるっていうデザインはまだしばらく続けてもいいだろうっていうふうに考えてます。
But like, if you know, if I'm looking down here at this, like the setup here of buttons, it doesn't look like Viper has too many buttons that it uses.
So compared to the past, people are very busy, whether it be work, engaging on social media, or maybe their commitments with their friends and family and so on. So they do have less time for gaming.
Viper look,
So
really?
when
You think
look
so?
at,
Hello,
Instance Dungeon
Starfire.
and maybe consider adding one more boss. From the player's perspective, they might be thinking, it's going to take me another 30 minutes. I think I'll just stop
Yeah,
here.
it kind of looks like you
And
just build
then
up a
on
bar.
the other end, we might consider
From what it kind of looks like you build up, swap to your other weapon, either like you split or you dual, and then you do shit like that, and then you swap back, and then you build up
cutting
again.
down the number of bosses
I might
so
be
that
wrong
there are
though.
just 2 bosses. And then from the player's perspective, they might be feeling that that's not enough. So when we considered that, we thought that 3 bosses was just the good amount. So if players are fast on a run through, they might be able to finish the dungeon in 12 minutes. And if they take more time, they might get through the dungeon in about 20 minutes. But we think that this is a good balance, and we would like to continue.
Oh, you have to keep up dots on something.
でもう一個ポイントがあって、
Oh, this isn't me. This is a video.
パッケージっていうのはすごくある意
Bro, look at his fucking. Why is it so big?
読みやすい。例えば3体のボスが
Oh,
いて、
really? That's kind of annoying.
道中がある。
Keeping up a dot
で
isn't
大体
so
フェーズ
bad.
1、フェーズ2、
Keeping up
フェーズ
buffs
3
on
に分かれ
yourselves
てる
also is kind of annoying though.
何人のアーティストが必要で、何人のゲームデザイナーが作業して何週間かかって何個作れるっていうのが
Yeah.
すごくもう明確になるので、マネージメントしやすく、たくさん
Well,
の量を
Marble
作り
is in
やすい
here.
っていう
Don't know what
メリッ
Nerdy's
トがあり
doing.
ます。
Marble should be in here, but you know, he's always AFK.
And so from the development team's perspective, the package has a benefit
Yeah.
in that it's easy for them to factor in the resources and scheduling required to develop the dungeon. So for example, there would be 3 bosses.
Probably.
And then there would be
Although he's been doing
throughout,
quite a bit of content recently.
the course of the dungeon, and you would have a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and then you would be able to
But this
know
boss
which
looks a bit
artists
nutty,
and
actually.
which game designers would
Yo,
be,
true.
need
You
to
are right,
assigned,
Starfire.
to develop that, and they would know how long it would take to
A lot of people release guys. There are a few really good ones on Vibe and Victor that went over all the abilities. I've got a few of them up as well to look at.
develop. So from a management perspective, it's really
I'm
easy
intrigued to
to
see. Yeah,
manage
you apply buffs and debuffs with your normal rotation, so they're like passively refreshing. Also, is it something that's like you don't really need to track the buffs. They kind of just happen anyway. A manatee mount would be cool.
Develop the content.
で最終的
I
に
mean, I'm excited to see what type of mounts that we're going to be getting as we go through this game. Like what the like we had the what was it, the 𝐒𝐿𝐴 mount was like one of the really hard ones to get. That was from raiding. He was passive, yeah. Okay.
にもっとエキサイトしたいっていうリクエストが多いようなら
Yo, true.
もう一
True.
個
Would you think it would be
別の
slimy though?
そのブループリントを作ればいいと思っていて、じゃあもう道中はなくしてトラッシュもなくしてもう連続してボスと4体連続で戦うような別のコンテンツ別のパッケージを作った方がどっちも納得できる。いや ID はこれぐらいの気楽さでいいよ、でももっとエキサイトしたいって人のためにもうボスラッシュみたいなコンテンツを作ればまたコンテンツのタイプも増えてコンテンツのバリエーションも増えるし、さらにそれをこう数増やしていくと豊かになっていくので、そういう考え方でこう作ってたりします。
So if we do find that maybe there are requests from players and they want to have a more exciting experience, I think the solution for that is to simply create a different blueprint.
I heard boss rush.
So we could just remove all of the trash from the dungeon.
I don't think that needs. I don't think dungeon the way the dungeons are done in FF, I don't think that needs changing. Especially like the leveling process and the dungeons you do while you level up. I don't really think that needs changing. I believe that potentially dungeons should award something towards a set of gear progression, but they might do in the start of expansion. I don't know.
So that it would
We need different rotations anyway. So let's say you press a button that leads to 2 different rotations only. The one with the buff that has less time left will glow up. Okay. So it kind of tells you
4 consecutive bosses, and we could incorporate that into a different package. So for some people, instance dungeons would be fine, but for other players, maybe they could try out this content, which would be sort of like a boss rush content. So it's, I think it's our policy that we try to develop different types of content and incorporate variation, and then that creates a more rich playing experience for the players.
Yeah, and did you see
boss rush. So you literally just queue in and just fight the bosses, bang, 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 and then out.
an influx of players from the West have a
So this one is, did the influx of Western players influence design?
impact internally
Yeah,
over
potentially.
this kind of design because they were used to different experiences elsewhere.
西側からの、プレイヤーの、
Anytime.
急激な増加がに伴って、他のプレイヤーの人たちは他のゲームで違うデザインをたくさん体験しているので、そういう人たちがたくさん流れ込んできたと。で、それによるその多分開発への影響っていうのは何かあったでしょうか。
いやむしろ
It does.
やっぱりこう今まで14をプレイしなかった人たちって味もするし、あんまり自分たちに合わないんじゃないかって思ってた人たちが多いやっぱり印象で、でも遊んでもらった結果、そのやっぱり本当に多くの人たちがやっぱワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトを経験してきて14に来てるので、ワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトがベースというかゲームデザインの僕ら参考にものすごいさせてもらってるので、そこにニュアンスはありながらこんなに違ったゲーム作るんだみたいな感じで、むしろすごく新鮮にこう感じてもらってるので、あんまりなんかこうだからこうしてほしいみたいなのはあんまり今のところはなかったりします。みんな純粋に楽しんでくれてるみたいな印象ですね。
No, rather, I think if anything...
Yo, Trash Panda, hello.
a lot of
Who is it?
people
Yo,
who
Mustache
haven't played
Mania.
Final
Hello,
Fantasy
my
14
man.
before, they typically associate Final Fantasy 14 with having an anime style, and for them it comes across as childish, so they feel that they won't like it.
I would, from someone that's an anime enjoyer, I don't think I would ever say there is childish anime, but I don't think I would say on a whole that anime is childish. Like, I don't think I would ever say that. Yeah, I don't think FF looks childish. I mean, so that's what I mean. I would say majority of all anime isn't childish at all. I would say there's a very small amount of anime that might be somewhat childish, but it's definitely not childish as a genre. I think that's where people confuse it. And I wouldn't say either that FF is necessarily anime. Like I don't play FF and feel an anime connection to it. Like, I feel like just because it's a Japanese game doesn't mean it's fucking anime. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like people have to try it themselves, right? I feel like people have to try it themselves. If you only cannot try it until you have to... Yeah, they're just going to miss out. They really are. I mean, I think some people genuinely don't play this game because they're afraid the end game isn't as strong as other MMOs.
But I think a lot of those people, it's just my impression, but when they do play Final Fantasy XIV, because they've experienced World of Warcraft themselves, and actually we've used World of Warcraft a lot at the basis of as reference material for our development, they will come to appreciate that even though World of Warcraft is used, you can still create such a different game experience, and I think for them it comes across as being really novel. So I think from that perspective, they really do just purely enjoy the game.
I have to tell you, the reason I didn't play Final Fantasy XIV was every time someone tried to get me to play, they would send me a screenshot of people dressed as Power Rangers or Lalafels running around and telling me it was the best story ever, or cat ladies doing things in Limsa, and I immediately went, no.
The reason I didn't play Final Fantasy, and I put it off for so long, is because every MMO I've ever fucking played in my life, all I've ever cared about is end game progression, right? And whenever I looked at it, I had a friend that has like 10k hours on this game. Whenever they'd explain the end game, whenever they talk about it, whenever I'd see anything about it, I'm like, the end game looks good, but I just don't like how it sounds. Like, the bosses look good, the fights look good, but I don't like how it sounds. It was too far from the way my mind had been programmed to the way you run endgame stuff, right? For me, endgame, I mean, it still very much is like, get the gear, become strong, because get the gear. Like, that's how my mind still works with it. But, see, Final Fantasy has given me a massive appreciation of other things for games. So I don't play FF for the end game. I play FF for the experience of everything else that goes on in the game. And FF has given me that experience. It's given me an experience that I would not have had. Like, I now appreciate single player games again. I now appreciate a good story again. You know, I appreciate the community side of things more. You know, there's so much more to it when you talk about FF compared to other MMOs.
これは絶対伝えないといけないんですけど、毎回誰かが14を始めて見てくれと勧めてきたときに、必ずそれについてきたのが
First time I tried FF was during Stormblood. In the future, I was limit to 35. The gameplay at the time was boring for me. Then I tried it back in 2021 and stayed here with playing of the MMOs on the side. I'm playing for the community, then for the end game. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel. But like, we spoke about this before, right? Like, they can be PO bus. They can be, yo, you know, welcome on in. There can be a lot of the social drama and the social aspect of the game can be very toxic. Like we said before, clicky, two-facedness, shadiness, backstabbing, outright leaving people out, you know. I watched a clip that was sent to me earlier. So I know full well that the community on FF, like some people, right, suck when it comes to this game. some of the social aspects of this game really, really suck, right? But overall, it's been a positive experience for me, and I'm assuming it's been a positive experience for a lot of people. It's just you get some like really cringe. Now, if about have a great time streaming. Yeah. So it's a give and take. I really love how almost all FF code is relevant. I like that too. I like that. Have a great day, Starfire. I like the fact that it's relevant. Yeah. Ever heard? I did hear about something that happened to know, but I don't exactly know it. I don't exactly know what went on. I just know that, like, so there was a point for me, right? There was a point for me in where I bet a lot of you don't even realize it. There has been a lot of drama that's had not through me. Like I'm not really involved in it, but there's been a lot of drama within the community as a whole that's sort of like, I guess, related to the streamer circle. There's been a lot of drama, and it would go through, say, some of my mods, some of the people I know, some of the community, like it just would, right? And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then you come towards the clickiness, the two-facedness, the shadiness. Like you deal with it all, and you realize how like rife it is and how much it's there, right? So there was a period of time I was speaking to Zeri about this, where I finally decided that I'm just fucking done with all that bullshit. Like, I don't want to be involved. I don't want anything to do with it, right? If people are going to go, they can go. And I went to Zeri, I went, I'm just going to focus on my community, our FF community, our side of things, and just go from there. And I genuinely think that change really helped with my mental health and my mental side of things when it came to this game and came to like the community and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm just done. I'm just done giving a shit about like the problems of other communities. I'm done giving a shit of why, you know, some people turn up for a second, but then, you know, they're elsewhere for like massive periods of time. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to focus on who's here, who's with me now, this community, my community. Yes. Yeah. Someone really wants to create a problem in your direction. Yeah, they do. Exactly, Kiki. Exactly. They really do. And I think that's where we spoke about this before. It's where I find the difference is. Yeah, literally, I'm just here to have fun. It's like for me, I'm just here to play the game, have a good time, stream it, have a good time with my community, and boom. But some people really do love to make a problem and love to, like, involve everyone in their problem. It's crazy. He gave Emmett 0 sympathy at the end of base, Shadowbringers, and misunderstood something he said. And so said, no, fuck you, bye to Emmett while he died. That moment got clipped out of context. Oh my, see what I mean? No, that's cringe. That's really cringe. I'm not going to lie. I understand loving a game, loving the story, loving the characters. But fucking hell, you don't have to go berserk at someone just because of, like, one thing.
スクリーンショットでいろんな人がその戦隊ものの
パワーレンジャーに見える。
パワーレンジャー見えたりとか、ララフェルが走り回ってるとか、
Had a strong point. Emmett massacred billions of people, created much bad shit in the world. Yeah. Like, if anything, we're not supposed to like him. We're not supposed to like him until you're not supposed to like him until a certain point in the story, which I think is probably in Endwalker, right? I'm trying to think through. You're probably not supposed to like Emmett at all until Endwalker. Until you realize stuff. Literally, yeah, Elpis, yeah. Literally, Force. No one keeps new players from playing FF than the player base themselves. The player base can be like, come and play our new game, come and play our new game. And then, you know, you'll go and play the new game, and they're just like, uppercut, left, bang, no. Like, it's crazy. They're just hitting you from all sides with bullshit. I've not had that experience. Thank fuck. You know, you guys have all been amazing. Understand or empathize more. Yeah. Like is probably the wrong word. You understand why, you know, I think you realize a lot of stuff with Emmett, right? During the Endwalker side of things. So you might not necessarily meant to like him, but there's a lot of realization from your point of view to them. Yeah. I think people just end up simping over him. It's like, it's like villain simp, right? Yeah. It's villain simp. They just love a good villain. So people just simp. They're like, no, I don't care.
キャットレイディがセクシーポーズを撮ってたリムさんで撮ってたりとかっていうの
Only time I've been DDoX is by one of my IRL friends. Yeah. He was an amazingly well-written character from start to finish. Yeah. But to understand, yeah, you're meant to, that's what I mean. You're not meant to, like, there's a lot of people that just fall in love with Emmett, right? They fall in love. They love the character. They love him. They don't give a shit about what he's done. They just love him as a character and they love him as a person. But I don't think, you're not meant to like anything he's doing, but you're meant to, how do you put it? Like, you can, I think you can love the character, right? But you're not meant to, like, love him as a person. Yeah, it's never that deep. Yeah, you can love the character, but don't love him as a person. That understanding is the same as supporting and encouraging it. Forget that understanding. Yeah. You are completely right there. You're completely right. You know what else is deep? Biggies, but do you want to live inside my belly button, Force? One thing that's like a thorn in my heel is the fact that people have the built-in fear to tell people they play like shit in WoW. People are not scared at all, and they are the reason why I made a huge research on my monk that I was shy at. In FF, they will tell you to check balance Discord, and that's all. Yeah, I think that's why I will always say that the toxicity comes from different sides in FF. Like, both sides do have, like, social toxicity and elitist toxicity, but I would say that the social toxicity is way more on FF, and the elitist toxicity is way more on WoW. They both exist, but they're just, there's different levels of them in both sides. There can't too much trash in there. Wow. So in short, Noble didn't cry and shed zero remorse on him, and Happy Emmett died. People went all pissed, and he wasn't. Yeah, but the thing is, like, at that point, Noble doesn't know anything more about the character than the fact he was doing evil shit constantly. Right? At that point when he dies, you don't know anything else about Emmett. You just know he's been doing evil shit. So, like, his remarks are completely fine. Maybe sometimes revisit. Yeah, I mean, unless I'm wrong with this, like, at the point, at the point where he dies, all you know is the character's been evil. Yeah, exactly. Even if at the end, after it all, he's still like, I hate him, that's his opinion on the character. I think if anyone's coming from WoW, they're most likely gonna expect people to be so toxic in like Dungeon Finder and stuff that they're probably like, why is my Discord completely frozen? That they're probably going to be like a little bit scared to really talk or anything. But yeah, but I can imagine maybe Noble's opinion changed once he'd made it through Endwalker, because I think everyone's opinion changes a little bit of Emmett by the time you finish Endwalker. Yeah, we honestly know shit about Emmett until post-Shadowbringers patches. Yep. And then again in Elpis, I liked him for his drama kid personality, but also despised him for his actions. Then again, I was like, dude, yeah, exactly. It's so different. Like, you can simp for, like we said, you can simp for the character. You can do all of that, right? You can fall in love with how he's designed as a character, but I feel like defending his actions that he's doing, like, oh no, he's not evil, he's just misunderstood. No, he's evil, right? He's evil. What he's doing is he's evil, right? He is. His actions are bad. What he's doing is like bad. Like, he is evil, right? And it's as simple as that. You can't defend his actions through Shadowbringers. You might be able to defend his actions once you finish the game completely. Maybe then you can defend his actions. But at that point when Noble said what he said, there's no defending the actions there.
We stand together! I'm surprised you can stand at all.
Have I seen... I don't think I've seen this. Oh my god. Why is he bouncing like that? But okay. This. Oh my god. Wait, there's no way they included the sparks coming off fucking Graha because he's like part fucking Crystal Tower at this point. Oh my god. That's fucking joke. Wait, did you see that? Graha was definitely harmed in the making of this video. Shit. Really? Oh my god. Please, for the love of Alone, I need an animation of Emmett on a motorbike. On one of the motorbike mounts, dragging Graha like a tin can. Why is he... Why is it so BO? I thought he just got shot. Did Emmett tie him to the back of a truck? Oh my lord. Bro, that noise. That dink noise at the end. That was fucking funny. Liz makes the cutest vids. Some people are so good at that. You got, they got the point. Yeah, literally. I mean, so yeah, some people are so good at that, like 3D, like.
Reddit
they're
as
really
well,
good.
so I really do understand what
fact,
everyone's
yeah.
Talking about.
でも逆にそういう人こそ本当に何かのきっかけで、まあそれこそプリーズさんだったりコンテンツクリエイターの皆さんが始めたのをきっかけに、まあそこまで言うならやってみるかって言ってやった人ほど、ごめん全然違ったイメージは違った本当にそうじゃなかったって言ってくださるので。
Oh yeah, before I think. Okay, so I'm anticipating the Dawntrail is probably going to change my mind about the way I see Endgame Final Fantasy. I think my major issue is with the Endgame right now is that I've come in so fucking late to the game. I joined at like 6.4 or something like that. That there was no progression for me, right? There was no like build up. You know, it was like, oh, I'm at the end. Here's the best gear. You know, the only thing I could have done was like spam alliance raids or like stuff like that. No, it doesn't sound fun. But I think Dawntrail, with me experiencing like how the build-up is once again for a new expansion and how they're going to do it, I'm very excited to see how it changes my mind. You better unlock Flying Day 1. I am planning on doing everything, Yuki. Every fucking thing. Everything. I'm going to do every quest along the way. Everything. Right? I'm not going to just be like, Viper's 90, MSQ all the way to the end. I'm getting Viper to 90. Then I'm doing every single quest. Side quest. Everything. On the way. I'm using Dawntrail as this thing where, like, this is a new journey for me as well. Force. We don't speak about flying in this channel. I'm not gonna... Is that stalling, though? Does that count as stalling?
僕は本当それが嬉しいですよ。
I tried to teach myself how to make SimState in Blender. I can imagine you still... I haven't done flying anywhere. I've got it in AR. I just haven't done it. How else will you fly up to my nuts?
Reach and other content creators, when people really do insist and then they finally take the plunge and try out the game and then they realize that it was so different to their expectations, to hear this kind of feedback from you, it honestly makes me glad.
I mean, he's right. It does. It blows your expectations out of the water because I came from streaming World of Warcraft raiding every single day. I would stream to progressing a storyline and reading out everything. So for me, it was like a night and day experience with streaming. I took a massive risk going from what I was doing. It was a very big change for me. It was a very big risk. I have to hold a massive thank you to the streamers that raided me at the start. So like Ava, 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐋𝐒, and Daisy. You know, I have to thank them because they're the ones that helped introduce a lot of you to me initially, and now here you all are. You know, enjoying the content with me.
It makes me glad too because I have
FF14 as an RPG first.
never cried at a video game in my life. But
You know, true. I've never cried at a video game either. I've never even cried at Final Fantasy 14, to be fair.
I've cried 5 times in Final Fantasy 14, and I've ranked it because people ask me all the time as certainly Shadowbringers and Heaven's Ward as the 2 in my top 5 best RPG games of all time. Not just MMO, RPG games. So like Chrono Trigger number 1, but then we get to Shadowbringers and Heaven's Ward, and I would never have found it due to how
Yeah, you do.
people
You get
tried
shot
to
like
get me to play
Graha
the
did.
game.
私もすごいやってよかったなというふうに思います。で、まあ自分の人生体験の中でビデオゲームで泣くなんていうのはこれが初めての体験でした。で、実は5回ほど泣かされておりまして。
Is he crying? He doesn't look like he's crying.
シャドーブリンガーズとあとヘブンズ・ウォード、がもうとにかく自分の中の
there you go.
ゲーム体験とかRPG の、MMO とかじゃなくて RPG ゲームの中のもうトップ5の中の2つを占める
This is a complete fine scene to get emotional at. Very, very. I think this is one of the first scenes that genuinely did me as well. Like I didn't cry, but it's very fucking emotional.
ものとなりました。
If he plays like the vampires, he would have been so messed up.
で、もう
How long ago was this for
続くっていう
Preach?
感じだと思います。こういう体験は他の人がこれだけ強く進めてくれなかったら絶対できなかったものだと思います。
いやもう
His outfit just.
そう言ってくれると嬉しいです。まあ僕 MMORPG の大ファンでもありますけど、やっぱり RPG のファンなので MMORPG だとしても
Really?
そのストーリーの体験っていうのを
So was Preach not finished when I started FF?
なくしていいわけじゃないとやっぱり思ってるので、やっぱりストーリー作ってる時っていうのはこれはもう RPG なんだと思って作ってるから、もうそう言ってもらえると。僕だけじゃなく
I didn't know
て
that.
多分日本のスタッフも全員喜んでると思うので今みんなガッツポーズしてると思うから
That what made Preach so pissed when he first encountered Seto because it reminded him of Ben. I think that's why it's different. Because it's like that connection with your pet or your animal or your companion. It's like that connection. And I feel like anyone that's had an animal in their life understands that connection.
Oh, but yeah, thank you so much. It makes me so happy to hear that. I myself, of course, I'm a big MMORPG fan, but at the same time, I am an RPG fan. So even though this is an MMORPG, I don't have any intention of removing the story aspect because I do place a lot of importance on the story aspect of this as an RPG in the development. And I think when we hear that kind of feedback, it's not only me, but the staff in Japan right now must be so proud, and I'm sure they're raising their fists in the air.
Oh, but I did nothing. Yeah, I get
見て
that.
ますよ本当に見てます
Of course, they do watch, yeah.
Yes
Oh, I meant now. Hello.
Yeah, I very really. I think when I cried properly for the first time, or like it got super emotional to a point that I had tears, it wasn't the game that brought the tears out. It was the fact that we were ending the story, and the amount of people that showed up for that ending is what I think initiated like the complete overwhelming feeling for me. I think it was the overwhelming feeling of, you know, people you know, they shown that they cared, right? It was like they genuinely cared about me, and you know, it was Endwalker.
Is you have made the #1 social game in all MMOs. And I've
Marvel
tried
can probably
many, from
tank.
Ultima, PlanetSide, everything onwards. It surprised me how much my audience.
Wait, what is this?
Fortunately,
Is
I
this a
had
play? Is this a play people are putting on?
this experience. Were able to take part in my story and bring me along. If they were in the background playing janitors,
That's cool.
or things like that, and stage plays that they threw. They made an entire story on a stage, telling my leveling story.
That's so cool.
And they used reshaping the house in the play to change the scenery and all these tools. And I have to wonder, did you start with that intention? And now, how do you look
That's
at this
amazing.
environment where players are playing a game within
I'm going
a
to
game?
crush you between my cheeks, banana lady. There was a stage play of the play from... Yeah, I know people put these on. I know... I can remember Nefsy going to one. I think it was a Harry Potter one.
Game separate from what you're creating internally.
Oh yeah, you can find. The thing is, you can watch this stuff on stream. It's just you can't show yourself using it on stream, if you get what I mean. I think. Preach. I think Preacher's forever. Was it sooner? Preacher's forever used chat bubbles. Like he streams with them and everything. Oh yeah. Preach. From what I know, Preacher's forever used the chat bubbles, but he's never been banned. He's never been, you know. And I think Yoshi P even knows that Preach uses the chat bubble, which is crazy. Yeah, because I think they've confirmed that they're actually adding their own chat bubbles now. I think it was more showing it live is dangerous, but it's fine as long as it's pre-recorded video. Check out the Hornet's House events Preach did. Shameless advert, my FC. Really? That's cool. Yeah, from what he says it somewhere in this thing that they're working on chat bubbles.
No,
that's really cool, Yuki.
自分が驚いたものっていうのは、まあこの
Yeah, any day now. I think it's needed though.
ゲームでもあるということで、あなたはそれを作りました。で、
I hate you all.
とにかく私のオーディエンスが、私のこれまでのゲームプレイ体験を、ハウジングの中で舞台を作って、
That was fucking cool, bro. That was cool. The way they changed that, added it. That was
演者を立て
sick.
て、一個一個その演劇にして再現してくれるっていうすごく心温まるエピソードがありましたと。で、まあこういったツールの提供もありますし、こういったゲームいわゆるその設計してきたもの以外のゲーム体験っていう。
We're already cooking. Ooh, I can't wait till you come.
もう初めからその想定したというか、こういう。
Oh, was that Zonoda?
実際にこういうものが行われることをあらかじめ読んでこういった設計とかを作っているんでしょう。
僕のやっぱり MMORPG の一番最初のそのショックインパクトはウルティマオンラインなので、
That's so cool.
僕は今でもやっぱウルティマオンラインは本当に極限究極の MMORPG だなって思ってるところがあります。
For me, in terms of MMORPG, the first shock and the first sense of impact that I had was when I played Ultima Online. And so for me, I think Ultima Online represents the ultimate MMORPG.
自分たちで、そう、でも分かる。でも自分たちで何でも作っていかなきゃいけない、ルールも作らなきゃいけない、その身も守らなきゃいけないっていう
Subscribe. That's how I'm going to start all of my
ゲームだった
YouTube
の
videos
で、
now.
逆に今、
Yeah.
14ってかなりシステマチックにルールも含めて作ってる。
Subscribe.
当然僕は MMORPG を作るっていうか担当になった時に今まさに言ってくれたような演劇をしてくれてたり街の中で誰かが演奏していたり
Preach on, yeah.
まあハイカ
I
ー
went to
ド
one of
して
his
くって
parties
鬼ごっ
before.
こというかかくれんぼ
Here
を
feels
していたり、
shitpost. That's a viewer thing.
やっぱりこのゲームは遊ぶものじゃなくて MMO は住むものであるっていうのが僕は究極だとやっぱり思っていて、もちろんそれを目指して作ってはきたけど本当にそれを皆さんがやってくれるかどうかは
Really?
やっぱ分からないので、
Yeah, I'm on
初めて
Saji,
そういう
Chaos
シチュ
Saji.
エーションみんながやっぱり日本だったりでも演劇をやってくださってる方とかいらっしゃるんで、ものすごい感動しましたよ。今でもそうですし、多分一番幸せな瞬間だと思います、我々が。
Yeah, I do understand, but you know, back then we had to
Woof, woof. Woof, woof.
We had to create various things. We had to defend ourselves, and so on. But on the other hand, with Final Fantasy XIV, we have various systems and various rules to carry out our development. And of course, with Final Fantasy XIV as an MMORPG, there are aspects which would happen, like as you mentioned, maybe some people would do a performance in the town, like acting in the town. Other people would maybe play games.
Acting in the town. ERPing in the town. ERPing. There's no acting. There's only ERPing in the towns. So I've got news. So I don't know you guys got autumn. Okay. Yeah, because I think I just made a character and it just happened to be on Saji. Like I didn't realize this was where like OK Mage and stuff were playing. I just made a character and it was on Saji.
Games of hide and seek, and so I really aimed to
Hide and seek. More like hide the sausage.
create this world where people could actually live out their lives. But I didn't know if we would be able to achieve it unless people actually started talking about it and mentioning it. And in Japan as well,
Bath, how you doing,
we've
man?
seen that there are people who put on these productions in terms of theatrical performances. And then when I hear about those things, it makes me extremely glad. And I think at this moment, when we hear that, it makes us the happiest.
It was one of the most astonishing things I've seen done in an
Hey,
MMO.
I'm
'cause
glad
I
for that,
don't
I'm glad.
think any other MMO can even practically do it in any way, shape, or form.
今までの MMO 体験の中でももうものすごい衝撃的な出来事でした。でおそらく他の MMO ではこういったことが多分できないのではないか、どんな形であれできないのではないかというふうに思ってます。
そうか、でもそれは嬉しいな。なんか多分もし自分で MMO を作るっていうチャンスが来たら、きっとそういうものをみんながやってくれるようなものを作りたいと多分思うはずなんですよ。なので、いやでもあなたのゲームではそれが実現されてますよって言われるとやっぱりめちゃくちゃ嬉しい。もともとね MMO のヘビーゲーマーなので。
Ah, so the servers are... So you just, like, transfer over to the server. And then you just play that, and then eventually it'll be back down, and then you go back to your old server. He's not... Oh, yeah, he's like... Yeah, so, obviously, Preach has no idea what he's saying when he's for Japanese. So that's why they got the... That's why I'm listening out for the translator stuff.
Oh, wow. That makes me so happy to hear. I think, you know, if you thought that you would want to create your own MMO, I think you would probably want to be aiming for the same thing. And to hear that our game has achieved that, especially as a hardcore MMO gamer, it makes me so happy.
A living, breathing world that we're supposed to be in, and things should matter. Although I don't agree with their use of Lalafels as raid markers.
Lalafels' raid markers.
もう本当に生きる世界にいうところに住むっていうのが非常に体験できますけど、ララフェルをレードマーカーに使うのはちょっとどうか。
Oh, is that what they were doing? Oh, I didn't realize that's what they were
It took me a
doing.
while to figure out what they were supposed to be.
それが何なのかってしばらく時間がかかりました、理解する。
なるほど。
Yeah, that's what I've got
see.
up here, though.
Let's move on to jobs. I I played a lot of Viper today, a lot of Pixelmancer.
Have we got a foresty type of dungeon? I like that. I have a tooth.
When you're introducing new jobs into FF14 every couple of years and an ever-expanding roster of jobs,
Give it back.
how difficult is it internally with the whole new glamour, whole new relic weapon system, and overburdening the
I'll tell you what,
players
Peter
with
looks quite fun,
what may
actually.
be a problem in
今日序文の話に移ります。で今日たくさんバイパー、
Rich chat.
テクマンサーっていうのを遊ばせていただきました。でまあもう結構
Blizzard in Cyan. Oh,
何
that
年
was cool.
かに一度またそれをさらに増やしていく。
Yeah, I haven't seen it because it's
続
just
けていますけ
it
ど
sounds like it'd be weird.
内部的につまり開発においてこれがどれだけ大変なことなのか、つまり新しいグラマーも作らないといけないですし、新しいレリックウェポン
This guy dancing. I've just realized the boss is dancing.
のための武器も作らないといけないし、でこういったシステムがそのプレイヤーに
Them
対
arrows
して
like new.
非常に負荷になっている可能性もある。6年後にこの実装をし続けることによって負荷になることはないのでしょう。
まあやっぱりいろんな MMO を自分でもプレイ
Where's boss
してき
already?
て
Yeah, he looks
やっぱりエクス
cool.
パンションパックがリリースさ
Update
れるっていう
arrows.
時
Update
に
arrows. Picture
ワ
has a
クワクする
dash.
要素って、
Forest
まあ
boss
当然新しい
dancing.
エ
He
リ
just
ア
threw up
新しいフィール
slimes.
ドに新しい冒険に出ていけるっていうところはまあもちろんなんですけど、コンバット
So
に
this
ど
boss
れ
is
だ
a
け大
slime
きな
mancer.
その変化や追加があるか。
Yeah, his
それから
dance
種族が追加
invigorates
さ
the
れるかどう
roots.
かみたい
Yeah,
な
I've
ところ
seen
は
that.
本当にエクスパンションパックの絶対花形だとまず思ってます。
Wait, was that alpha? Was that a mimicked alpha? No, it is. Look.
So of course, I've played many MMOs, and whenever I think about MMOs and I think about a new expansion that releases, of course, there's excitement about the new areas, the new
He's tabbed
fields,
out.
the new adventure
He's
that
tabbed
you will
out in
go
this
on.
scene.
But I think more than anything,
Oh.
players would be thinking about how many big changes are there in terms of the combat, what sorts of races will be added, and so on. And I think though the jobs really are the poster boys of the expansion.
で今のところそれが一番分かりやすいのはやっぱ新しいジョブが追加されますっていうことによってどんなジョブが来るんだろうどんなメカニクスを持ってるんだろう自分に合うのかな楽しいのかなっていうやっぱりワクワクするポイントが一番分かりやすい。
And I think when you hear that a new job is going to be added, the easiest thing to understand is that sense of excitement when you imagine what sort of mechanics will they have, what sort of job will it be.
ただ確かにこの先40ジョブになるってもし将来を考えるとちょっと待ってくれギアはもうボックスも足りないしどれを例えば新しく始めようとした人がもうどれやったらいいのか
Picto does look good.
多分どっかで限界は来るとは思
Like
って
it
ます。
actually looks good. Like the more I see of it,
But
the
let's
more
say
I'm impressed by
hypothetically
that
somewhere
spec, by
down
that
the line
class.
we have 40 jobs. You would have some problems in terms of maybe you don't have enough slots for your gear, and then for new players starting out, they will be completely at a loss at which job should they start playing. So there is a limit to how far we can take it.
だからどっかで
What do they do once they hit that point, though? Do we get Final Fantasy fucking 24? But like, what is the limit? Because honestly, you can't. Like, there will always be a limit of classes, but once you've hit that point, do you go to the next game? Because you can't keep bringing out expansions with no new classes or races. Because classes and races are always huge when it comes to new expansions. Like, when you think of a new expansion, you do think, oh, what's the new class going to be? What's the new race going to be? You immediately think of that. You do. So I don't see how you're able to continue a game without introducing one or the other.
おそらく考える必要が出てくるのは
FF
今
promises
ある
last
ジョ
one.
ブたちをよりさらに面白くするための多分システムアップデート大きなコンバットのアップデートっていうのが多分必要になるだろうと思っていて今まさにコンバットバトルシステムを中心とした主力メンバーで どういうビジョンを描いて次のステージへ行くかっていうのを議論している最中なので、まあさすがに40ジョブになる前にそれの答えが出るんじゃないかなと。
Yeah, so that was my thoughts exactly. No. It was that, okay, so now going forward, we're not going to ever have a new race. We're not going to ever have a new race, which kind of like is a disappointment to me.
思います。
So of course we need to think about what we should do at some point, and so we could consider making the combat or the jobs more interesting and incorporating combat updates. And this is something that we are currently discussing with.
So their thoughts of... Oh, he said it depends. Oh, okay, well that's good news. So with the class stuff, what we're gonna hit a cap of classes, and they maybe rework a class entirely to make it feel like something brand new.
Our combat battle system teams, because we need to consider what sort of vision.
Like instead of having a brand new class, they have Dragoon rework as one of the main points of the
moving forward,
the expansion.
And how will we approach the next stage moving forward? So these discussions are taking place, and I think probably before we get to 40 jobs, we should have decided on that.
How many jobs are we at right now? How many jobs are we at right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we're at 20 plus 2 more. We're at 22 jobs. We're at 22 jobs. So he's been listing 40 as a cap point. So 40. So we've got another good amount of, well, 23 with Beastmaster, right? Because there's 20 right now. 21, 22 with Picto and Viper. 23 with Beastmaster. So we've got another 17 classes. 17, that's a lot.
So it's not just an excuse to wear a cool outfit on stage.
ステージでクールなコスプレをする理由にはならない。
もうね、コスプレも辛いんですよ、本当に。
But you know what? The cosplay is getting tough, really.
It was beautiful.
Thanks.
I mean, if he includes the crafters as well, you're almost at 40 right there. What do we see? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That's 34, meaning realistically there's only 6 more classes.
On the combat note then, with adding complexity, one thing I noticed with both the Pixomancer and the Viper, especially you're reducing button bloat this time with a lot of the classes. Do you find, to cater to a new player, that glowing and sound effects allow you to make very complex classes, but if you follow the guide, you'll get 90% of its effectiveness, and then it's just the 10% who want to min-max their performance?
You know what? I would flex a skill cape in any MMO if it offered. Like, obviously I know RuneScape has it, but I would still flex the capes in the other games if they offered it. Nice cape for hitting something high.
ピックマンサーとバイパーについてプレイしてみて、確かにボタン連打
Like, here's your Dragoon cape for hitting level 100. Or like maybe even like a cape or an item for getting every class to max level. Here's your like, you get a hello Ziv, how you doing? You get like a cape for hitting max level on all DPS classes, or you know how it is. Because I believe nothing beats RuneScape's skilling system. RuneScape's skilling system when it comes to crafting and stuff is the best of the best in my opinion. Oh, you get a mount. What mount do you get?
割と減ってなりました。で、新しいプレイヤーに
Seto, yeah, I remember.
複雑さが増していくに していて、例えば、UI でここのボタンが光るとか、エフェクトが出て、そしたらこれを押せとかっていうような、ゲームの中でそのスキルをどんどん向上していくような仕組みっていうのを、
Bridge of Visors again.
ハードコアのプレイヤーに対しては成長中のプレイヤーに対してはそういったガイドを、でハードコアのプレイヤーに対してはその最適化を図るための道しるべになるような、そのインゲームの仕組みを実装することはあります。
正直すごい悩んで
Awesome. Just send me which guide I need to watch.
Honestly speaking, I'm extremely torn.
少なくとも
We should give us an expansion mount. Would you guys prefer an expansion mount for everything? For complete expansion, you get mount.
気軽に自由に遊んでもらった方がいいとは思っているので、途中でなんかこれ以上ごちゃごちゃ言うのはまだいいかなとは思ってます。
I think at the very least, what we would want to prioritize is that players can just feel at ease while they're playing their job, at least until they reach the level cap. So I wouldn't want a situation where things get messy halfway through.
ただレベルキャップに到達した時に、そも
I
そ
mean,
も
we can all admit that ability blow in FF is quite bad. I think we can admit that. I don't think any class needs 35 abilities.
スキルのローテーションとは何か、そしてどう
Ability
ロー
blow.
テー
It's
ション
when a class has so many abilities that it just is overwhelming to play it. Like, blow these nuts. Right, okay. Brewmaster Monk. There is no class, I don't think there's any class in WoW that has the level of ability blow that 90% of classes have. 36 key bindings. I've played Brewmaster Monk. 36 key bindings seems like a hell of a lot. You are correct. Like a good 10 of them, or maybe 6 to 10 are always situational. But it's I think having them on the bars can throw you off. I'm not asking for 5 abilities, obviously, but I believe that at this point, if they're going forward with adding new abilities, I believe that they're going to have to reduce some of the old abilities to make space for new abilities, right? Because realistically, you can't have 19 action bars going on your screen. You're going to run out of keys on your keyboard and mouse, and I play with a fucking 12-button mouse and all the keys and shift and alt and
効率よくなるのか、
control and whatnot.
それをやっぱりちゃんと
That's wild.
We could
That's
kind
fucking
of
wild.
inform tank players about, since we have the main tank and the sub-tank, when would they be tank switching, and in what sort of situation would the tank switch happen? This sort of information should be provided.
そしてさらにそれをシステマチックにやろうとした場合、今ま
I
さに
think Brewmaster's the
例に挙
most
げてくれたよう
fun
に
tank.
このアクション、これをやったなら次これがいいよってシステムで全部解説していくっていうのが確かに分かりやすいとは思う。
And so if we thought about incorporating that in a systematic way, it could be the way that you explained, so that when you press this action, something happens and it leads you on to press the other action, and this would be easy to understand.
ただ本当にゲームとしてそれでいいのかっていう思いと、またカジュアルにするのかっていう人たちもいるので、すごい悩ましい。
So, on the other hand, I think, would it really be okay to do this as a game? And also, there's the chance that people would say, hey, you're making it casual again.
すごい悩ましい。
So, I'm really torn.
どう思います？
I personally would be happy to have PvP bars for PvE. I personally would be happy about that. But that is just my opinion on that type of thing. I know there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't like that, but I would be happy to have, a similar thing for PvE as there is for PvP.
あった方がいいと思いますか？そろそろ。
But how do you feel? Do you think it should be there?
I think a good MMO class, a job, should always be accessible up to a very high level. And then there's some room for the really dedicated players to push forward.
That's a great fucking point he just made there. every class should be accessible to a high level, but there's room for, you know, insane play for the hardcore players. You know, I like that.
Not 100% better.
個人的にはまあある程度のところまではそういった
Yeah, exactly. Every class should be playable in an ultimate by any player, maybe. But, you know, to perform the best you can, there should be a slight room for, like, min-maxing. You know, like the Brandons.
ガイドみたいなのがあればいいかなと思います。で、本当に頂点に達したときにはまあ 10% ぐらいですけど、工夫の余地というか、さらにそれを展開していく何かの構造があった方がいいかな。それが良いジョブだと思います。
まあすごいヒントと、まあある意味ディスカッションの
Red Mage, I'm not a Red Mage player.
そのさっきも言いましたけど、コンバットチーム中心に今後どうしていくかの大きな方針というのを固めようとしているタイミングなので、
Thank you, Demon.
持ち帰ってさらにディスカッションを進めようと思います。
But thanks to this discussion, I've gained some hints about what we could do, and this is a good opportunity for discussion. So, as I mentioned, we are currently discussing the possibilities with the combat team, and we're currently working on solidifying our plan. So I'll definitely take this information back with me, and we can consider it together.
Superb. Well, we're out of time, unfortunately, but I want to thank you very much for this. If I can have one little personal question. I asked you at FanFest if we would see chat bubbles in the future. And you said yes.
時間なのでどうもありがとうございました。最後に
Chat boobs.
ファンフェスで伺った
Chat boobles.
チャットバブルの件、確かあの時はイエスって言ってたと思う。
For the stage plays.
テストのサンプルの作成はやってます。もう実はすでに。
Actually, we've already prepared samples for testing.
この一言だけで多分世界中に衝撃が走るので、ここまでにしといてもらっていい？
I think just this utterance alone has sent shockwaves throughout the world, so let's leave it here.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nuki.
今度はぜひ食事をしながら
Send shockwaves through the world.
もっと長い時間
That's
ぜひ
fucking
デ
joke.
ィスカッションさせてください。
I think next time, definitely, let's go out for a meal, drink some wine, and have a discussion then.
Imagine getting invited out for a meal and wine with Yoshi P, bro. Oh my god.
I would love that.
はい、もちろんです。ありがとうございます。
Of course, I will
That's
do.
so
Thank you.
cool. Ah, preach, you lucky fuck. Lucky. Lucky, 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 lucky.